16 years old by the way. So, Maki, female character in the hit shonen Jujutsu Kaisen. Cool character, cool arc, cool abilities, all great stuff. But then the internet did what the internet does. And now, she's a muscle mummy, joining the endless fray of female characters who are degraded to being nothing more than material, who is, mind you, only in her second year of high school. But that's not all. Because Jujutsu Kaisen fans are famous for their inability to read, we also get comments like this. You know, I saw a TikTok the other day making the claim that Jujutsu Kaisen fans don't deserve Jujutsu Kaisen and that it should have stayed gatekept. And honestly, I don't agree, purely for the fact that, hold on, too early for a conclusion. Let's hate first. I'm gonna spin back to this later, but I want to start a little bit on the sexualization of JJK's female characters. This is a really funny situation because JJK is one of the only anime/manga where the author didn't sexualize their underage female characters, and barely did it with their grown female characters. In fact, the only character that's explicitly sexualized is Todo, who is 18. But don't you worry, where the author fails, the fans and bitch ass niggas LARPing will succeed. Oh, R34 artists. Probably some of the worst people you're ever going to see on the internet. Because you just know that anyone willing to draw this is going to have some pretty awful opinions on everything. Unless they genuinely didn't know, which in that case makes you a fraud! And you're just a dick for that. Oh, and putting all characters are depicted as being 18 plus doesn't work when you make them have the same clothes and hair, but just give them massive tits and arse, you stubby weasel. If not for the fact that JJK fans are always trying to push an agenda for or against their favourite or least favourite character, then I would honestly give them the sin of lust. Because of their willingness to sexualize a character who is not once given so much as a suggestive angle. But One Piece and Bleach fans exist, so I can't really do that. And since we're here now, let's talk about the depravity of the agenda. Personally, I think agendas in general are funny a lot of the time. Like, as long as you people aren't actually emotionally invested in the agenda, it can be funny seeing the slander people come up with. But in the case of Toji versus Maki, I am actually convinced Kenjaku turned Naoya's scrotum into a special grade curse object and had you all lick it. Because how the fuck do you still find a way to hate on Maki? One of the things this great fandom has been doing is debating Toji versus Maki. That's right, Toji versus Maki. It gets to a point. Like, why is this even a debate? Got to be the most plantain Jujutsu Kaisen conversations ever. And the whole time, the reasons for why either side wins, but especially Toji, it just gets me vexed. Because how do you look at the most explicitly written piece of text in the whole fucking manga and still misunderstand it, you invertebrate jellies? Tell me why I've seen a nigga in response to this say, "Death of the author." Yeah, that's not how that works, you stupid cunt. If you knew how to read, you would have known that. Oh my god! A comment talking about a fight between Toji and Maki says, imagine Maki's fighting Toji, then she has some stomach cramp from her period, it distracts her, and he gets the upper hand. Big foul! I love how Maki, a woman with the strength, endurance, and speed of Toji, would somehow struggle with periods. I get how you would come to this conclusion, but it's fucking stupid, because Maki's entire body should have these attributes, not just the outside of her. It's not like cursed energy in how you're just a normal person unless you use cursed energy to enhance your body. R34 fraud versus the man who killed Gojo. Okay, now you're either a LARPer, a liar, or you just didn't understand what happened. But whichever one you are, you people are fucking retards! What I think is the funniest part about the Gojo argument is how everyone conveniently forgets that Gojo had to be worn out to such a point where he was too tired to even notice Toji's presence. This nigga Toji Fushigiro's biggest feat is sneak attacking and somehow failing to kill a weakened Gojo with nowhere near as much skill or power as he has as an adult. You people need to relax. And don't bring up Maki's Sukuna feat, because we all know that wasn't that impressive either. Is that what you wanted to hear? Wow, it's almost like Sukuna and Gojo are the strongest in the verse, and can't be killed by any other sorcerer solo. Yo, somebody said, don't forget height, his hands are longer which makes him able to land a hit faster. What do I even say to this? This nigga wanna talk about logic! Okay, since this thinks it's smart by trying to bring logic into it, we'll use logic for this. If we do go by this logic, then one could easily reason that Maki should actually be faster than Toji due to the fact that Maki is stated to be on par with him by the narrator, who, no, you can't say is an unreliable source because you don't know who the story is narrated by. It could probably be narrated by the Buddha himself. However, Maki's smaller size and female anatomy should put her at odds with Toji, and therefore means that she would need more strength and speed to make up for her lack of size and bone density in order to be equal to Toji Fushiguro. That's the truth. If you want to go by your logic, that's the truth. If I say that word one more time, I feel like I'll summon him. And none of you get mad at me, okay? Since you man want to try loophole your way into making your useless, broke, smelly, stingy, dead win, I may as well do the same. Toji has more experience than Maki does. See, people who make this point, I understand the point you're trying to make. I mean, wow, you mean the guy who was alive longer has more experience? Color me surprised. Or at least that's what you're supposed to think. But I am gonna refute this too, because I read Jujutsu Kaisen. I think this point is disingenuous to say, considering that we know what sorcerers Maki has faced and beaten, whereas we don't know what sorcerers Toji has beaten. And I make this point because it's explicitly stated that sorcerers of the modern day are being born stronger than ever since the birth of Gojo. So, sensibly, unless Toji was out here killing sorcerers even younger than Gojo and Geto, which mostly discredits the experience argument for obvious reasons, I think it's a fair assumption to make that the sorcerers Toji faced off against aren't as powerful or skilled as, say, the young and even old sorcerers of one of the big three families. So the experience argument doesn't hold up. Before I move on, I've been seeing a lot of people trying to villainize Maki for the clan massacre for some weird reason, stating their reasoning is that she killed kids and non-combatants. Future Tenno here. I'm spinning back because I somehow failed to address the actual defenses of Naoya and the moral panic certain JJK fans are having about Maki. Like there are people who deadass call Maki a villain for the Zen'in clan massacre, and unironically think that Naoya and any of the Zen'in were good or decent people. Well, in theory anyway. Because, I mean, let's be honest, if they really felt that way, they wouldn't feel the need to also use the idea of Maki killing children as a defense. Admittedly, I am wasting my breath because anyone who can look at the Zen'in and say they didn't deserve it are simply misogynists. Like, I'm sorry if that offends you, but you are literally one of the types of people this story is against. Okay, so let's tackle the Maki was a bad person thing. One argument against Maki and for Naoya, when the she killed kids argument inevitably fails, is arguing, how come you guys hate Naoya but love Sukuna who's killed countless people and is a cannibal? You've probably heard something about the realistic evil versus cartoonish evil. This is a point used when talking about why certain characters are viewed one way, but characters who can be seen as objectively worse get away with it. Like, I hate Toji Fushiguro with all my heart. I hate that he killed Amanai, and I hate that he low-key caused Geto to become a nut, although my thoughts on that are mixed. And I hate that he did all this, mostly motivated by a beef he had with a child caused by misdirected rage. But Sukuna is objectively more evil, so why do I like him? Well, let me ask you this. What is a more tangible, more likely evil? A serial killer who murders children? Or a guy who blows up planets? Let's do another. What is a more tangible evil that many people do and will see in their lives? Racism? Or thousands of people being cut to shreds by one guy? There are types of evil that are more evil than others. more severe than others, more sensitive to talk about than others. This is why writers don't just make every evil character a racist. Why not every piece of media with a black person as a good guy doesn't get racially abused by the white villain? Obviously, some kinds of evil will be perceived differently based on time and place. But be real with me. Who hates Frieza for blowing up planet Vegeta or Namek? Right? People can deal with the idea of Frieza blowing up a planet because it's not realistic. It is literally cartoonishly evil, but this isn't objective. Many of us hate characters who can be considered cartoonishly evil for their personalities, or because they've killed characters that we love. And saying people hate Naoya just because he's a misogynist is disingenuous as fuck, along with everything he did in the story. I don't know why you niggas say this shit like bigotry's no big deal, or like it's simply just not liking certain people and that's that. Like, we literally see the things Naoya's sexism and misogyny do to him. Ogi Zen'in, Naobito Zen'in, Naoya Zen'in, all of them are perpetrators of the highly patriarchal, misogynistic Chaitiano and elitist system they were all victims of, but also heavily benefited from. Ogi was willing to kill his own children because he believed they were worthless. Naobito actively held back and looked down upon Maki. And more on Naobito because, as I talked about in the JJK misreads video, people seem to think that Naobito was a decent or just not an evil guy. And yeah, Naobito was not the overtly evil prick Naoya was, but why is Naoya's mother never shown? What happened to her? You can say she was never shown because she didn't add anything to the story, and I would agree, but only because of how well Akutami had already driven the point about the big three families that you guys have failed to understand, or maybe just refused to understand. I know I responded to a comment already with these points, but I just want to put it into video form. Another defense he put in for Naobito was that he was nice to Fushiguro, which is not true. Not true at all. At the very best, you can maybe read Naobito as being a victim of the society he grew up in. This still doesn't excuse him, and this sure as fuck doesn't make him not a bad person. It's not like he wanted or had any dreams about reforming the Zen'in clan, or was secretly really nice to Maki, so can we please stop with this shit? Junichi was the brother of Toji, which should tell you lots about his character and his relationship with the Zen'in clan. Nobuaki, even though a victim like, well, everyone in the Zen'in, still served the Zen'in under the Kukuru unit, because even though he's practically worthless to the elite, compared to Maki, he's still better. Because something something politics, something something intersectionality, something something conditioning. Naoya is the ultimate result of this culture. Being the youngest in the clan who isn't a literal teenager, he's jealous, power hungry, misogynist, elitist, willing to kill his own blood relatives to re-solidify his place as the clan head like he believed he was meant to be. He views men, and moreover himself, above women, to the point where he gets genuinely pissed if they don't obey or pay attention to him. He is genuinely a fucking pervert, as implied by Maki, and the fact that the first thing Naoya does upon even seeing Maki again is to criticize her because of her scarred face, wondering how she'll ever find a man. Because to him, a woman, or in this case, a girl's beauty is the most important aspect of their existence. Further supporting this are his thoughts and comments on Mai, calling her buxom or buxom.
Buxom.
This is what buxom means. And is literally an implied rapist! For some reason, Naoya fans or defenders always look past that part. He is the culture of the clans, given flesh. And this includes his inability to reach the pillars of strength he believed he could. Whereas Toji and Gojo had originally abandoned their ideals and the culture that binded them, Naoya embraced them, ultimately shackling him in place. Maki was not only the things he hated most, that being not only a woman, who by very nature should be below him, but also a person born inferior to him, but she also abandoned her ideals and culture that had binded her, and he hated them, ultimately leading to his death, or deaths. For some reason that's as far as I'd scripted that bit, but anyways, that's this part done. I'll let past Tenno take it back. Shit like this just goes to show that you all love demonizing women for anything. And I know it's niggas who are pretending to sound morally superior too, because you don't believe that shit. And if you do, then I would love to see some proof. Because the only non-combatant I remember being killed was Maki's mother. Why would she even kill the kids, bro? What, like, where is it stated or implied? Did I miss something when reading it? You're telling me that Mappa and Akutami let us watch Mahito kill a 15-year-old, Toji shoot a 13-year-old, Sukuna kill actual children, little children, and state that Kenjaku has killed fucking babies, but conveniently left out Maki doing the same. I wonder why. It's almost like it didn't fucking happen!
Little black boy.
Coming back to the rampant sexualization of Maki, this section will not be very long, because truthfully, I'm not the most equipped for this. I'm not well versed in feminist literature and thought, I'm not a media analyst, and I'm not an intellectual. To fully dissect Maki's sexualization and her character would be to dive deep into politics and history and media/literary analysis, all of which I ain't nearly educated enough on to add anything truly meaningful to conversations like this. That being said, one of the most disappointing parts of all fiction is that if a female character, or fuck it man, even a child character dared to exist, then you are guaranteed to see the most disgusting shit of them on Twitter or Reels or TikTok, man. Especially Maki, a character who I truly do like. She has an amazing character arc throughout Jujutsu Kaisen. She tries to rise through the ranks of the Jujutsu world to become a grade 1 sorcerer and become head of the Zen'in clan despite the family that rejected her and her twin sister because of the conditions of their birth, and wants to reform the clan, only for it all to end in disaster when her sister is murdered by their father. Having her goal destroyed and realizing that the clan is rotten from its very core, she unlocks her heavenly restriction and wipes out the oppressive clan that suppressed and tried to dispose of her and her sister when they no longer served purpose in their eyes. I may not have explained it the best, but it really is a beautiful character arc, and Maki is single-handedly the best written female character I've ever seen in shonen. So far. Feel free to suggest better if you want, you know. Obviously, this is simply an effect of patriarchy, but it happens so much, and what's even more frustrating is, half the time, they don't even sexualize the character and that's it. Sometimes they feel the need to completely change their bodies too. Like, do you even like the character, or do you just like using them? It's so disgusting to me how much Maki is sexualized and made out to be basically Toji, but it's not gay to jack off to him now. But it should put you on a list. How can you even take a character so clear of this and still sexualize them, you know? If Maki was established to be anywhere near my age or older, I would have much less of a problem, I'll admit. But it's still tragic. The insistence for niggas to make Guna content out of a character who was never made with that in mind, unlike the majority of shonen women and girls. And here's when I want to bring up the time to create some straw man, because I'm not trying to go off at Guna/pedo talk or some shit just to see the shit they say to justify this crap. Not that I need to, because I've heard it all anyway. She's just a drawing. Okay, I agree. I totally agree. Now quickly, BOOM nigga! Huh? Don't play that game, because we know your kind. We know the same niggas who talk about these underage characters being fictional start frothing at the mouth like a rabid dog whenever they see a black manga character, a black cosplayer, a black character with the mantle of their favorite superhero, or a white character that's race swapped, even though half the time that's not even black people who make that choice. Some people like to say, you can't separate fiction from reality. And I reply, you can't control your dick around kids. Don't put that on me. And probably the most annoying argument of all time. Turn down your volumes for this one. But women sexualize the female characters. Then make a video about them! Every time men do this shit, every time a woman dares to have a problem, it's the same shit. You bastards just weaponize your issues to silence women. It's so fucking annoying because constantly it's always niggas who don't give a single fuck about men unless it has to do with them and their ability to get pussy. Like, what kind of response is that? Oh yeah, well, actually, you sexualize men, so it's okay. And it's such shit because you can literally see that they don't care. I have even directly confronted men about this, and when they do it with real life situations, and it's the same shit. They just want to complain, but they don't want to help. Talking about, you sexualize Toji, but we can't do it with Yuki. Right, look, sexualization isn't inherently evil, right? It's just how you go about it and what with. I have genuinely no problem with people sexualizing like Tsukumo or Kuroi because they're hot. And in Tsukumo's case, that's very intentional. You know why it's not that big of a problem? Because they are GAW. Grown ass women! Just like how it should be okay to sexualize Toji. Because that nigga is a grown ass fucking bump. I mean man, bro. And the reason women and girls complain about it is because men and boys do it to such a point where it seems like they're only known and liked for being sexualized, while you see practically nothing of the opposite happening. I mean, if again, those bitch ass R34 artists can just make this shit and they can become popular or memes, then what does that say about how women in fiction and real life are viewed? Anyways, another reply from only the most intellectually gifted Jujutsu Kaisen fans you can find is, but women sexualize Teen Gojo and Yuji and Megumi.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck,
Bitch.
man?
No one said it was okay! I mean, shit. I really hate when teenagers get sexualized, male and female. The way women sexualize these little ass boys is vile, okay? No one debates this other than female pedos. But you don't even care, do you? Shit like this is so annoying and tiring. And I know there's no amount of videos that can really change this. Though I can make videos dunking on these niggas, and we really should just shame these people. Shame them. Shame them like you would any other nigga who makes a stupid fucking comment. You know, I saw a TikTok the other day making the claim that Jujutsu Kaisen fans don't deserve Jujutsu Kaisen, and that it should have stayed gatekept. And honestly, I don't agree. Purely for the fact that if JJK wasn't so successful, we wouldn't have season 3, or the love that was put into it, or modular. I don't think. And Akutami deserves every bit of their success. When I see this slow ass, hateful slander/agenda subculture eating at it, and these laughers and ungrateful motherfuckers constantly complaining about such stupid shit that you would never catch in other fandoms, I just have to think to myself, yeah actually, this series is way too good for the fandom that has swarmed around it like fucking mosquitoes. I'll never wish for a series to be gatekept, but it's like, success at what cost? But who knows, maybe this is just a Western thing. We are currently experiencing an age of media literacy being at an extreme low. Maybe in 10 years the JJK fandom will fix up. Don't think my hyperfocus will last that long, not gonna lie, but I hold out hope anyway. I've been Tenno Man, and the curtains are blue. Learn English, nigga.